All right, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. So we'll have a call to order at 3:03 p.m. And we can move right on to our meeting items. Approval of agenda for the meeting that we had on February 23rd. Oh, no, today's February 23rd. Approval of the agenda for today's meeting. Is there any comments on that, or anybody want to add anything on it last minute, or are everyone happy with that? I guess everyone is happy, so I guess we can call it. Oh, hold on. Okay, Mary,
I'll move
yes.
to approve the agenda.
Okay, there we go. We got a seconder on that, Whitney?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, good enough. So that's item 2. Item number 3, declaration of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Anyone have anything to declare? I suspect not, but I think that is a solid no. And number 4, approval of the minutes from the December 8th meeting. Anyone have any comments on that? Nope. Okay. Can we have a motion to approve those minutes and a seconder as well?
I'll approve it.
Okay. And if you,
I'll second it, Carrie.
okay, there we go. I was just cutting out there for a second. So we're all good with that? Delegations, I suspect again not. At our last meeting, the people from Lower Trent had expressed an interest in coming to one of our meetings, but I sort of put them off for this one. I didn't think we had much of an agenda to discuss, so that's probably just as well. So no delegation. Report from the chair. Oh, my sound is cutting out here, so is everybody getting me or not?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
See. That's good. Chair's report, that's primarily what my report was on, was that I did meet with Rhonda and David from Lower Trent back in early January with the idea of putting something to them, just preliminary, much as we have discussed so far along in our meetings, of different accesses to Proctor Park from the west and from the north, and then another potential one that would cross out onto Yonge Street to eventually hook up with the property that is under negotiation on the east side of the highway. So I did get a report back just the other day from Rhonda, which I just sent to you shortly ago. And it just basically says that, sure, they are more or less in favor, but there would be a lot of approvals to go along with that, which we understood would happen anyway, and that they are not in favor of an additional crossing of the creek and access on the east side to Yonge Street, which again would hook over to the property on the that might be acquired on the east side of the highway. So they're not in favor of that. They think that access through the Proctor House yard will be sufficient for that. So that's what we've got from them, and pretty much what I expected. And that is pretty much all that I have to report on. I believe for item 6.2, there was going to be Doug and Mary had spoken to an adjoining landowner, potentially just after our last meeting, and you may have a report on that. Do you, Doug, Mary?
There we go. Yes, met with him, and also met with the planner. He knows about it, and it looks like a deal is in the work to do some adjoining trails on Butler Creek from Ontario Street going down towards Grimes. But the last 3 weeks, the individual has gone trapping and he ended up with COVID. And now that he's better, he's gone trapping again. So he's kind of gone a little bit ghost. But the individual is on board for it. And the planner knows what's going on with the 6.5 acres of land. And that would make the connection of all along Butler Street and connecting into Grimes and connecting to all the rest of the other subdivisions.
That's good. That's excellent. Yeah, as long as it's moving forward, the other links further south from there will obviously come into place as those properties are developed, and that will be part of the development process. So that looks good, that we can put something together potentially from all the way from Cedar Street all the way up to Butler and head over to the property on the west side of Ontario Street. So that's a big step forward. So thank you for Mary and Doug for taking that on and speaking to that property owner. And I think that was all from there.
He's a handful. So before you leave, when you were talking with the Lower Trent, I also sit on another committee which has to do with the conservation, right and wildlife on the north side of the 401. So what they've done, there was a little bit of a few hazards there, a few wells that had to be abandoned. They were getting abandoned, but also there is an opportunity of just with the concierge is coming here. I'm in the front of the Frontenac Hotel in the Quebec City right now, in the old end of the Fairmount on the gold floor. Nice. The concierge are coming, bringing our stuff in. I got in 2 minutes before the meeting started. We're here for a COVID trip for 5 days. Nice. Yes, and we're going to go mushing dogs tomorrow. So so what it is, there's 880 acres there, and I've been working on this for a while. The Conservation Authority can take it over from the MNR, and I sit on the AGM with the minister for the MNR, and so there is an opportunity if the Lower Trent would take the property for $1, they could flip it to Brighton for $1. And Brighton has been trying to get access to that property probably for the last 24, 25 years. So we get an opportunity that we could, and that would be a great opening for walking trails, hiking trails, and everything there, because it would connect both sides. It would also connect us on the opposite side with Quinte West, that they would like to use some of it that comes down off of one road, but most of it, just about all of it, is in Brighton, the municipality of Brighton. So we're very close to that. So the next meeting that you'd have with the Lower Trent, I'd like to attend with you. As long as I'm not caught lately here, I guess I better make sure as a councillor, I don't cross any lines or I don't do anything. You've got to stay very, 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 very safe area. So as long as I'm not crossing any lines or interfering with anything or tampering, basically it is my committee, it's the committee that I sit on to get that 880 acres, which would be a great boost for our walking trails, hiking trails, and horseback riding trails for Brighton. So we should work with that, because since you got a good connection with the Lower Trent, and Mary Tadman sits on the Lower Trent.
Right.
So.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, the people at Lower Trent, Rhonda Bateman and Dave Beamer are, from my experience with them, they are very, very easy to talk to and very cooperative. And so I had a good meeting with them when I did meet, and several emails after that. So we're keeping a good line of communication open with Lower Trent as well. So, and thanks for that, Doug. I'm going to ask Paul if he has any report on the property that is on the east side of Highway 30 that was discussed at the last meeting, to be acquired from one of the landowners there to add on to a recreation area up on the hill behind the Forest Hill subdivision. So is Paul, you have anything on that, Paul? Is Paul here?
Yeah, but he's muted.
It doesn't seem to be muted, Paul, but we can't hear you. I don't know is your headset wireless or wired? If your headset's wireless, we like, is it the battery's dead or something? But we can see your lips moving, but not, we can't hear you. It's almost like you're muted, but
Sign language?
Take it if you want.
Well, that may be. Oh,
Hear me now?
yep, there you are.
Yeah, there's about 3 or 4 options in there, so I had to find the right one. Yeah, no, I just simply wanted to tell the committee through the chair that the director of Parks and Rec, Mr. Jim Miller, has some good things to report there. He's been working with the current landowner and has come to an agreement. Maybe not in paperwork quite yet, but I don't know if Mr. Miller is on the line here. Yes, he is. So maybe it'd be better to let Mr. Miller speak to it, Mr. Chairman.
okay, thanks, Paul. Jim, can you give us an update from your end on that?
You're muted, Jim.
Muted, Paul. Jim, sorry.
Okay, try it again. Yes, I've been working along with the landowner on this purchase. I met the landowner about a week and a half ago. We actually walked the property. So we got a fairly good orientation on it. And it went to council last night at closed session. And we will be going forth with hopefully an agreement in the short term, not too distant future.
Excellent. Okay.
So that will allow us to, I think, work on that link.
Okay, and as I think we discussed, that is probably our primary number one idea of something we can actually get our teeth into and move forward in a fairly quick hurry and have something to show for. So that sounds good. Thanks, Jim. I believe that probably concludes everything in item 6. Number 7, I guess I jumped the gun on getting the update from Mary and Doug on that. So is there anyone has anything they want to toss out there for discussion? Mary?
Thanks. Carrie, I've been thinking a long time, and I brought it up before. When you come down Baldwin Street and to your left, it would be Elgin. There's, a proposal in the works. It hasn't been brought before council yet. But going along that street, the back part of that would make a beautiful boardwalk, like a trail, all through the back where the marsh is, and then maybe somehow negotiate with the yacht club and bring it back out. People could make the loop, go back up Price Street and choose to either go north on Baldwin again or take the walk along the waterfront. So I think that would make a nice loop if we could start thinking about that at least. And now that there is some desire to develop that land, and I won't get into the issues of that at all, but I think we should keep it, on our back burner, that at least we maybe could negotiate something for the part at the back that's closest to the marsh that wouldn't be able to be built on anyways.
Yeah, that certainly sounds good. That's a nice spot down through there in the out in the cattails. And the nice part about proposed developments is that we can, or council can make that a condition of any development in there, that the developer do something towards trails and recreation areas. So as soon as that gets any further along in progress, if it ever does, then I guess our committee should probably recommend to council that they include that as one of the conditions of development. So let's keep that in mind, keep it on the back burner, and I'm sure we'll hear lots more about the development. I haven't heard anything lately, but I was at the meeting back before Christmas, and it looks like a good thing for that area. So let's just keep that in mind. Anyone have anything further in the business end? Okay, I'm not sure that we really have too much in the pipes that's going to require a meeting in the next month or whatever. I'm open to discussion on that, but I think we should probably plan a meeting for maybe 2 months from now, end of April, just to see what has gone on with the various things. Once spring gets going, then I'm sure some of the developers will be hopefully bring some things forward. I know one of the developers that is going to be on the lower link of the Butler Creek Trail is he's champing the bit to get things moving down on that neck of the woods. So if there's no further discussion on that, I would propose to have a
Sorry,
meeting.
Carrie.
Yes.
Sorry, I just want to, before you wrap up, I just want to make sure Marina has everything she needs from you for the minutes. Because she's, cute and quiet and won't boss you guys around just yet. Coming, it'll happen. But you have everything you need for the minutes before they wrap this up.
Yeah, I just need to move for adjournment in the second.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
So is there any further discussion on, okay, Jim, yes?
Yeah, just if I may, going back to that other property or that trail link, I think it'd be a really good idea once we get rid of the snow and things dry up a bit, to be able to take a field trip over there and walk that link, so everybody gets an idea of the geography, and so that we are all on the same page when we start to look at developing it.
Sure. Road trip.
Yeah, maybe May, I don't know what the spring's gonna bring.
Okay, so we can perhaps do that in conjunction or in lieu of a actual meeting on site, because unless something else comes up that requires some discussion, I don't see that happening right away. So yeah, with the landowner's permission, and maybe we can go a little further south as well and get the lay of the land going down into the next phase or two. Would be it's really nice area for a walk down through there. So so tentatively maybe first week of May, something like that. Anybody have any disagreement on that? Okay, so let's work towards having an actual field meeting first week of May. And when the time gets a little closer, Marina, if you can diarize that to give us a reminder to sort of check things out and see whether we need an actual meeting, either in person or on Zoom, as well as a field trip, or just the field trip would suffice. So that sounds good to me. So we'll put that in tentatively first week of May. Any other business to discuss, or can we call for an adjournment? Okay. I call for an adjournment at 3:23. And I guess we can have a mover and a seconder on that, just to keep it nice and official.
I'll second that.
There we
I'll
go.
move it.
Okay, thank you. And that is the conclusion of the meeting. Thank you all very much.